happening in the world is no matter what you all do, whether you actually turn out to be filmmakers or don't be filmmakers, you have to be storytellers. The world has become that of storytellers. And you're all, everyone's on social media, what you put up on your Instagram feed is part of your story. So everyone is getting into storytelling. And ultimately, wherever you go, you apply for a job, your resume is your story. How you explain what you do is your story. Hence, you are always selling the script of your own life. You know, when you get admission in a college, if there's an interview, they'll ask you, Acha, you know, you're 18 years old, you're 20 years old, kya kara? So, ma'am, I came first in my flat race in, standard one. I did this charity work, I did this, and these are my marks. So it is continuous. So what you all see and what you're experiencing now when you're starting off your towards the end of your education actually, and when you enter into the real world, the storytelling will only get more pronounced. There is no running away from that. Ultimately, you have to sell yourself, sell your work. Tomorrow you're working even in a bank and you're supposed to do this thing. At the time of appraisal, how did I do? You have to sell. कि yes sir, आपने जो काम दिया था मैंने वो काम ठीक से करा और ये है. So storytelling and selling yourself is absolutely a must for everyone. And I'll come into, I'll bring this back to films because that's what you all are here for. But this was just one global yarn at the top of it to just tell you all that it is extremely important that whatever that selling yourself and writing your own story is the most important part of what you do. Very quickly, I'll just talk about my journey, and through my journey, you all can, because in this kind of situations, I find it easier कि अगर मैं खुद के बारे में बोलूँ कि मैंने क्या करा, कहाँ पढ़ा, क्या करा और इस मुकाम तक कैसे पहुँचा हो, I think it's more about sharing through experiences or you're learning from my experiences, and then we'll get to the more question answers of everything. So I grew up in Calcutta. I did my schooling all the way till standard 12 over there. फिर I moved to Bombay. Bombay में BCom करा और MBA करा. 96 में मैं graduate करा हूँ from MBA. वहाँ से I got a job in a bank. 4 years I was in Export-Import Bank of India looking at balance sheets, and everything. And after doing 4 years of that, I realized कि banking तो बहुत सारे लोग करते हैं. So I may not ever become the best banker or whatever. So I was always very curious कि what else is happening in the world. So in '99, some of us who are much older will realize in India there was, the internet revolution came and there were a lot of internet companies. Some of them most of them have gone. And two of the companies which I joined, they used to be like what is now news sites or entertainment sites and things like that. So there were two such companies I joined. Both of them shut down within 6 months of each other. And from there I jumped into, so the idea was to move from banking to new industry. And the way India grew from 2000s, you all were probably born around that time, there were so many new industries coming every few years. Insurance was happening, new banks were coming, internet was opening up, radio stations were coming, TV was booming. So I pretty much ran through multiple industries, and whenever there was an opportunity, say कि कुछ नया आया है, क्या करना है, and I would say कि अरे किसी को कुछ नहीं पता है तो मुझे भी नहीं पता है, मैं करूँगा. So I went into, for 1.5 years, I was in 2 failed internet companies. Then I joined Airtel, what is now Airtel. They were launching in Goa, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh and Mumbai at that time. So I joined that. I joined that company, and in that I was responsible for product development, which was basically content. और उस जमाने का कंटेंट था कि अच्छा एस्ट्रोलॉजी, आप है ना SMS भेजो, आपको एस्ट्रोलॉजी मिलते हैं, आपको क्रिकेट स्कोर जानना है, आपने CRI टाइप किया कुछ पर वो मिलता था. तो ऑल दोस कंटेंट पार्टनरशिप्स मैंने उस टाइम किया. तो 2 साल वो करा, फिर सडनली देयर वर न्यू प्राइवेट FM रेडियो स्टेशन चल रहे थे. तो यहाँ पर तो नहीं है, बट एक कंपनी है रेडियो 1 जो इज देयर इन 7 डिफरेंट सिटीज. मिट्टे ग्रुप का है. मिट्टे इज अ वेरी वेल नोन Bombay based paper. So I got an opportunity to work over there as a radio station. So I was heading the radio station I was the head of that. So there were like 30 people, one station was there, and we had great fun because radio is a great medium. I mean, if anyone's looking at getting into media, lot of fun in that medium. आपको सुबह में आइडिया आता है कि चलो कुछ स्क्रिप्ट लिखें और शाम तक वो आप लिख करके प्रोड्यूस करके ऑन एयर भी ले जा सकते हो। तो 4 साल वो करा। फिर आई ज्वाइन आईपीएल के पहले एक आईसीएल इंडियन क्रिकेट लीग था जो जी ने चालू करा था, तो वो कुछ अनाउंस हुआ। तो 4 साल आफ्टर डूइंग रेडियो आई सेड दिस इज इंटरेस्टिंग, स्पोर्ट्स का मैं शौकीन हूँ, तो व्हाई डोंट आई ज्वाइन दैट, एंड आई मैनेज टू। सो आईसीएल ran from 2007 to 2008 and I was there from the first till the last ball and we did 3 tournaments. So pura I organized the entire, so before IPL and all that fanfare we did it in December 2007. If you do some Google search you will see ICL में क्या क्या हम लोग ने करा था उस वक्त. Then of course IPL came and killed us, it was because it was just ICL was just Z trying to sign ex players or young players who were not known, and IPL came with Sachin Tendulkar, Mukesh Ambani, Shah Rukh Khan, Vijay Mallya, everyone, and they just kind of killed the competition completely. तो ICL बंद हो गया, जैसे वो बंद हो रहा था, that's when I got into movies in 2008 and December. I joined what the company is now Viacom. They had a film studio called Studio 18. So that was the first time I got into the film world, and I was there as the head of production. So my job was basically reading scripts, or the scripts actually would get, so just the structure of a typical studio or any decision maker, there's the studio head or the main producer, uske andar there'll be on creative and there'll be production. So creative's main job along with working with the main studio head is to कौन से script को approve करना है, फिर कौन actor होना चाहिए, वो सब एक बार वो हो जाता है, then the production gets involved in saying कि अच्छा script तैयार है, आप उसका breakdown करिए, कितने दिनों की shoot है, कहाँ पर shoot करना है, क्या location, उसका एक budget करके we would give. So I was the head of production. I did that for 2 years till that company kind of merged into a different company and it became a little, what is now Viacom 18, but it had its journey. So I'd gone through, by then I'd worked for about 15 years and I said, chalo, I've done a lot of these different companies, a lot of different roles, let me try something on my own. And while I was working in Studio 18, I realized, and which is a very real problem even today, and I've been talking to some of the ESG colleagues and some of the government officials and NFDC over the last 24 to 36 hours कि पिक्चर बनाना अब तो और भी आसान हो गया, पर पिक्चर बनाना आसान है, उसको आप है ना रिलीज कैसे करते हो, मोनेटाइज कैसे करते हो, उसका सेल कैसे होता है, लोग थिएटर में कैसे आते हैं, दैट इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट. So I started my own consulting company and during that we did about 20 films which we tried to help in releasing. Some of them went on to win national awards and things, like a film called I Am Kalam and a whole bunch of very small films you wouldn't have heard of most of them. While I was doing that, I decided that the aim was always to turn producer. So while doing that entire thing, we really didn't have too much money of our own to invest in the business. We were doing well as an agency. So what we decided that if you have to produce, it's very important to invest in getting the script written and finding, get the, have that base document of a script. So we got that written. It was actually a British film which we acquired the rights of that movie, and then we got hold of some writers and got the script written. Once it got written, we started moving around, including, believe it or not, I sent it to NFDC to enter it in the co-production market or whatever. This is 2012. It finally did not get selected because it was an adaptation and they were looking for fresh, newer ideas and everything. So we didn't get, but because we were interacting with NFDC so much at that time, they told us to come and be as marketing consultants for the Film Bazaar. So in 2012, all the PR and everything for the Film Bazaar happened by me and my company for promoting it in Bombay and in MediaNet and other such things. But what happens is I've submitted to this script, it is not approved or whatever, and we're still working on it and hoping kya hoga. We started sending it to different actors. So the film finally became Dharam Sankat Mein, which was, it's a satire on religion, and everything. And the protagonist is an older gentleman. So we sent it to Amitabh Bachchan, Nasiruddin Shah, and Paresh Rawal, and the typical anyone above 60 odd bheja, and hoping to, we didn't know any of them, but we just sent it in any case to their managers. No response from anyone. There was a lady called Urmi Juvekar, who is a very well-renowned scriptwriter. She was part of the NFDC and she had read our script. She calls me one day, this is January of 2013, saying, Shariq, I have just got out of a meeting with Paresh Bhai, and Paresh Bhai had just come out with a movie called Oh My God, which was released in 2012 or 11, 12 or whatever, and it was a big hit. And when we had even sent it to Paresh Bhai, I was like, "Arey, abhi to ye picture kari hai, which is, where he's played the protagonist, it's a big hit, it's about religion and everything. Hamari picture ko shayad nahi dekhenge. He might not read it and this thing." And there was no response from him in any case. But Urmi had just finished a meeting with Paresh Bhai, and she said, "I have just got out of the meeting, and he was asking me कि I want to do something more. Oh my God, जैसा ही कुछ अगर है, if you have, write it for me." And she said, "I remember reading your script, which I had submitted for the NFDC thing, saying that this is a script which could be of interest to him. Why don't you go and meet him?" This call came to me on a Sunday evening, I remember. Go and meet him, send him a message, and go and meet him. I sent a message to Paresh Bhai, immediately he said, "Come tomorrow." So Sunday night this is happening, Monday he says, "Come and meet." So we go, and me and my partner, we go and meet him, and we carry the script and everything. We give it to him. First he says, "नहीं ये तो ठीक है, मुझे देवनागरी में लिख करके दो." He doesn't like reading. So he like, तो क्या होता है स्क्रिप्ट में, he says कि सीन का जो डिस्क्रिप्शन है can be in English, dialogue write in देवनागरी because I want to read this thing. So it's very important. So I'm saying all this stuff. Make mental notes as to what is. Take out the right things from it. देवनागरी में लिख करके दो because it was important for him to read the dialogues as it. That's it. To give us 2 days, we'll get that translated. तो translate करके भेजा. Within 2 days, he says, "Come," and when he gets the script, he says, "Give me a week, 10 days. I'm traveling. ये सब होगा." I said, "Sir, आप जितना time लेना है ले लीजिए. If you're willing to do it, it's very important for me to. We'll wait for you." He within 2 days calls, "Shariq bhai, मैंने पढ़ लिया है. आकर के मिलो." So within 7 to 10 days from the first time I've sent him a message, we have met him, sent a script, he's read it, he's called us back for a meeting, and he says, "This is very good, this is what I want to do, but ये सब चीजें हैं, ये सब देखना पड़ेगा." I said, "हाँ ठीक है, देख लेंगे." वो करके pretty much in that itself he kind of shook hands saying कि हाँ मैं ये picture कर रहा हूँ. Now the reason again this is important is for any script, do not assume why someone should not do it. 2, if you get, this was a role for someone who was 55 plus, 60 plus or whatever, if you get the person who is your top seed for the role, always aspire for that. If you get it, the film will happen. This is again like for you all much later, but I'm just saying कि that's the journey. And moment he said yes, I knew कि ये picture बन जाएगी. He asked us कि अच्छा पैसे ऐसे आएंगे, ऐसे नहीं सर, अब आपने हाँ बोल दिया है तो हम जाकर के सबसे बात करेंगे. इसे किससे बात करोगे? I said, "Sir, आपके पास अगर कोई प्रोड्यूसर है, we can work with him." He said, "नहीं मेरे पास तो है नहीं, पर ये थोड़ा controversial हो सकता है, तो corporate से ही बात करते हैं, क्योंकि in case there's any issue, you can talk to legal का अगर कुछ हो सकता है issue, we need a strong corporate for releasing it." I said, "हाँ ठीक है." तो उस वक्त 4-5 जो corporate थे, सबसे we started going and meeting. And so I met him in January 2013. The first check I gave to Paresh Bhai was in January 2014. So it took me 1 year after Paresh had said, "Yes, I want to do the movie," to convince someone to invest in it. And that someone turned out to be my ex-company, Viacom 18 itself, said, "Haan, chalo, we will make this movie," because they had released Oh My God. And they had done bumper business in Oh My God. So they said, "Oh My God was a little bit expensive movie, because Akshay tha, ye tha. Can you make the movie in 12-13 crores, whatever the exact amount is?" I said, "Haan, you tell me whatever figure, we'll manage it." Paresh, of course, took a very large sum of that because he had delivered a 60-70 crore hit. But he was well worth. I knew the picture ban gayi. And just digress. A very funny story happened because I told you that we have Nasir bhai ko bhi bheja tha ye script. So Nasir bhai calls almost 6 months after we have sent it, after Paresh had said yes, and we are running around trying to get money. And Nasir calls up the director who he knew, and he said, "Arey, ek script aayi hai which you're saying it's written that you're the director. It was lying somewhere. I've just started reading it. Come and meet me about it." So me and the director, we go over to Duk Duk, Nasir bhai ko agar he likes it, how do you choose between Nasiruddin Shah and Paresh bhai? And money-wise, Paresh Rawal was more saleable because he had just delivered a hit, even though Nasir Saab is like guru even to even to Paresh bhai. So we went and met, बहुत डर करके गए, and Nasir bhai said, "हाँ ये तो बहुत अच्छी है, जिससे बताओ क्या करना है." So he said, "हाँ this is good, I'll do it." Now there were 3 roles. So We said, sir, we've already got Paresh sir for this. We were thinking of you to play the other role, the parallel lead. Because there was one elderly Muslim gentleman, one elderly Hindu gentleman. So I said, sir, वैसा होगा ये Paresh bhai is the Hindu, you're the Muslim in a real life, and we'll show भाईचारा through that. So he said, वो नहीं करता. He said, अच्छा वो तीसरा रोल वो जो villain, not villain, जो बाबा का है, who's like a fake Baba, whatever, उसका रोल कौन कर रहा है? We're not even thought who would that be, because we thought we'll take anyone, but like a Saurabh Shukla or someone not as this thing to take it. He said, नहीं मैं वो करूँगा, because I want to play this. उस वक्त वो गुरमीत राम रहीम का भी को थोड़ा वो लव चार्जर करके गाना आया था and all that controversy हो रही थी. तो he said, I'll play this, I'll have fun playing it. So he said yes to that. So suddenly, the film just became bigger and bigger, and we delivered, and the film finally released in 2015. It didn't do as much business as we thought it would, but that was my journey of being an individual producer and literally thinking कि अच्छा ले 1 लाख रुपए का invest करके let's get this rights and spend another 3, 4, 5 lakh rupees to the writer. वो 5, 6, 5, 6, 7 lakh rupees का investment में our script was ready, and luckily Paresh did not charge money till he said till you get the money. So the first check came to me only after Viacom paid me money. So in a 5, 6, 7 lakh rupee investment plus writers coming in, sitting and having chai samosa in our office for that 12 months or whatever, took care of getting a script and a film of 13, 14 crores ready. So the journey is very organic, and it has its own life. There is no rocket science, there is no method to the madness. You have to keep at it, and it finds its own level as such. So that happened, and then एक क्या होता है कि एक बार picture release हो जाती है, you think कि अरे अब तो all the doors will open, and next I'll work with Shariq Khan itself, but film doesn't work, and then suddenly you're back to zero. Because in our business, you are only as good as your last film, and good, bad, ugly doesn't matter. Your next film cannot start till you have the next script. So you could be, India's greatest builder. We made the best building, but that building is made. Now you've got to find the next plot to start building. Now if the building is turned out well and it's, this thing, you buy a plot at whatever and okay, wo big jayegi or whatever. But if the building does not sell well or whatever, you got to find a better plot in a better area, build a better construction, so get a better architect and all those things which are there. So that is the nature of this business. There are enough people who there's no guarantee that second picture will come immediately after your first one. It is a long winded journey which is there. So I then did lots of other odd jobs and everything till suddenly in 2018 I get a call from my ex-boss who was my boss during my cricket days. He suddenly calls up, he says, Shariq क्या कर रहे हो? I said, sir, struggle कर रहे हैं film industry में और क्या? He said, अच्छा, come and meet me. So I went and met him, and over there he gave me an offer to become the CEO of his films business. So this is a company called Z Studios, which I became the CEO of in 2018 May, and I was the CEO of that till April, May of this year. So for 6 years I worked over there, and over the 6 years I have released, produced, distributed, marketed about 114 movies in those 6 years across 7 languages: Hindi, Marathi, Punjabi, Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, and 1 or 2 English movies we've released over there, which I'm not really counting. So that has been the volume and the experience which is there, and it becomes as someone who's sitting at that chair, my job is at the heart of it a business role, because Z is a listed company. Some of you all might own shares, your parents might own shares. Your responsibility as a listed company is to give shareholder returns. अब वो आप है ना फिल्मों से बनाए, सीरियल से बनाए, OTT से बनाए, एडवर्टाइजिंग से बनाए, लाइव इवेंट करके बनाए, अगर कंपनी है, the returns have to keep coming. So it's a very commercial role, and which is absolutely fine because cinema is a commercial art. अगर आपको fine art करना है, then आप artist बन जाइए, graphic designer बन जाइए. There is zero cost for this. When you're doing any movies or anything, you need to collaborate and you need multiple people to make it work. You need equipment, you need locations, you need department heads, you need costume, you need khana pina. If you're going to a different location, you need to accommodate them. So it is an expensive, it's an expensive medium. It is पैसे लगते हैं हर दिन का. There is a certain cost. Even if you're doing a student film, and if you are saying कि चलो I'm going to work with all my actor friends and everything, if you are the producer, at least you have to provide them chai, coffee, nashta, transport, कुछ तो दोगे ना. So there is a cost that is attached to it. At a student level, it might be 5,000, 10,000 rupees in the day. When you're producing a film, it could be 5 lakh rupees a day. It could be as low, 50 lakh rupees a day, depending on who you are, what kind of a film is happening. So it's very important to keep that in mind. It is a commercial medium. So when you are selling a script or you're selling a project, you have to understand that if